Good morning. Welcome to Bright Star Mornings. It is Bright Star Mornings today for January the 18th. Sending out the notes that all say that I'm live, so everybody knows that I'm live. Because we're live. 30 seconds. That seems to be my best. Let's start with Mug Talk. Today is Saturday, and I've actually been up since like about 6-ish, probably a little bit before 6. I got up, but my daughter, she wakes up like extremely early, and so like I was like, all right, fine, I will, So when she wakes up really early, we're like, you need to go back into your room, but at about 6 is when I was like, you know what, let's just sit out on the couch together. And I like to sit down every morning and like plan out my day. I have my little like digital bullet journal type of thing, and I like to like plan out my day. So I was like, come on, Elisa, why don't you plan out your day with me? And so like that's what we did, and it was kind of fun. So I've been up for a minute, which is why this is actually why I decided to go live Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. because for me this is not like an inconvenient morning time. I'm gonna scoot back just a touch here. I think I've got room. Yeah. For me, this isn't really a big deal time. As we saw last week, previously on Bright Star Live, the kids are up and about, and like I said, my daughter is the one who wakes up the earliest by far. I have a 2-year-old. He's fine. So I've been up for a while, and that's like our family usually by 8. Things are kind of getting settled, which is why I thought this would be a great time. Did not anticipate that we'd have an interruption. But anyways, so Mug Talk. Wait for it. This is my Hamilton mug. This is the mug that I got when I went and saw the Hamilton touring show. And like, it's a funny thing because so Wait for It was one of the first songs in the full, original Broadway cast recording of Hamilton that like I immediately resonated with, right? I mean, you've got Aaron Burr singing about loss and, life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway, right? We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive when everyone who loves me has died, I'm willing to wait for it, right? That song hit me because I got into Hamilton the year my mom passed away. So even though I don't remember exactly when Hamilton, came out, I think it was like 2015 or something like that. So I know that it came out like when my mom was still living, but like I didn't find it until it was the Mother's Day after my mom had died. This is an interesting story. I guess this is Mug Talk / story hour. Maybe that's story time. Maybe that's what we'll call it. But so it was the Mother's Day after my mom had passed away. So my first Mother's Day without my mom. And my husband actually had to go back to Ohio for his sister's graduation. And so I was alone the Mother's Day weekend with my daughter, but what I really recall, like the memory that I have is I drove my husband down to, the airport so he could put him on a plane and he could go. And then as I was driving back to my neighborhood, and I had the baby in the back, I had our daughter in the back, and I was driving to drop her off at daycare that morning because this was like Friday. It was like Friday. I was going to drop her off at daycare. So this was like a long morning, right? Woke up really early, drove down to the airport, back, daycare, then work, right? But I listened to the Hamilton soundtrack like all the way down, all the way back. And by the time that I'm driving to get to her daycare, I like blew past the daycare because it was just like, who lives, who dies, who tells your story? And any of you who know Hamilton, that by that point you're like Niagara Falls in tears, and that's how I was. I blew right by the daycare, and that's what I knew. It was like, oh, Hamilton. So eventually I went and saw it, and that's when I cut my hair, which I still regret to this day because my hair just will not grow. So, and we're full circle. So that's the Wait for It mug. That is Mug Talk. So the topic for today, so this week on Bright Star Coach Online was all about establishing habits, right? So I made a few blog posts and a YouTube video. So I made a few blog posts and a YouTube video all about establishing habits. And so today I'm going to be finishing off and rounding out that topic. And then starting Monday, basically, we'll go into what to do when the going gets tough. So that's next week. This week is establishing habits. So topic of the day. And that's the way it works on Bright Star, by the way. If you haven't kind of noticed, like what my rhythm is, my operating rhythm, if you will, is that I'm making one YouTube video a week. I'm posting these live streams once a week, so the YouTube channel gets 2 videos per week, and then on the blog I'm posting about 3 per week for this January series. Back in December, I was blogging every single day. In February, we'll probably, I'm looking at what I'm going to do for February. And so, I'm thinking, I like to blog the majority of days a week. So I'm probably targeting 3 to 4 blogs a week. So that's kind of the rhythm. And so this week was establishing habits. And so there were blog posts and YouTube videos about it. But today I want to expand on the blog post that I made, what habits are made of. And the concept, I believe, comes from the book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, which I really need to read the full book. I've read abstracts of the book and so forth. But I really need to, I'm thinking about maybe even running a mastermind group on that. So keep an eye out. So the things that the components, or I'll say the building blocks of a habit, right? There's 3. There's the cue. It's like the thing that prompts you to do the habit. The reward, like what's the craving that the habit is trying to hit. And then number 3 is the routine, which to me is like the doing part. And that's why I put this as part of establishing habit week, establishing routine week, because that routine, the doing part of the habit, is what builds up routines, right? Really all of these things, the cue, the reward, the routine, are how you build up a routine that you want to do. So take, for example, I love to talk about my morning routine, because I think, that's another book that would be good to do for a mastermind group is Miracle Morning. That would be another great one, because how you set your morning really, really dictates how your day goes. Like that has been my experience, definitely by a long shot. Like how my morning starts really sets the tone for my day. And as I already mentioned, I like to start my day with a little bit of planning and a little bit of preparing for the day, and even looking at the next day, and sometimes looking at the day before. It depends. So I have my morning routine, and that morning routine is built of little habit blocks. And so those habit blocks build the routine. So if you think about it as a routine is like built up of blocks. Oh, I had actually a set of blocks, but they're behind me. I'm not going to bother. But you can kind of visualize that, right? So what makes up those little habits? So if you think about it like an atom, what makes the habit itself is the cue, the reward, and the routine. So I'm gonna write that down. Cue, reward, routine. Let's go ahead and pin that, and then post this one. So starting with the cue. So the cue is what prompt the action, right? So the cue is what makes you go do it, right? So in the case of something bigger, let's use the fitness routine example, right? Let's say you want to start running in the morning. This was the first one that I ever did. This was back when I lived in Kansas. I decided I wanted to start running in the morning. And the way that I did it, so the cue was I would put my running shoes inconveniently in the doorway of the bathroom. like they were here, if you can imagine shoes in the most inconvenient way, right in the doorway of the bathroom. I could get away with that because number one, I wake up before my partner. I'm an early waker, and that is something I use to my advantage. Definitely know yourself, know your natural advantages. I know that the hard part for me is not waking up early. I'm going to wake up early. The question is, what am I going to do once I get up, right? So for me, once I decided that I wanted to run in the mornings, I knew that I was going to wake up and have to go to the bathroom. That's human. That's what humans do. We wake up, we go pee. So I put my shoes like in the most inconvenient spot so that, you know, no matter what, you know, you come in, you're groggy, you're walking out, and blah, I just tripped over my running shoes. Oh yeah, that's right. Past Evelyn, who was thinking straight, wanted me to run. So here are these running shoes. They're right here. You put them on. And then I always put my workout gear like right there also in the bathroom. Still to this day, my workout gear lives in my bathroom. You know, I have a pretty small house and a pretty small master bath is a stretch. Okay. Like it's like a tiny little cell of a bathroom. But what I do is I have a little backpack, have a little NASA backpack that it's like about this big, but my workout stuff just is like right at the top. And so what I do is you come in, you go to the bathroom, because that's what you're going to do anyway. And the queue is right there. So you have to make the queue, like the best way to work with the queue is, first of all, figure out what it is that you're naturally doing. So like when you're talking about a habit, like let's say just little habits like biting your nails, or in my case, I actually like to sort of like pick at the back of my head and stuff like that. What is making you go to do that? Like, why am I putting my hand back there? Why am I, you know, biting my nails? What's happening in and around that then causes me to do that activity? And so, you know, in the case of like running, it's like, well, I'm going to get up anyway. Like I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to the bathroom. How can I use that as a cue to do the action that I want to do? So that's the cue, and that's how to use the cue for your advantage. The other wonderful thing about the cue, and we can talk more about this, you know, once I go through all the parts, but what's really cool is you can daisy chain cues. So I just told you, I'm going to wake up naturally early, right? And I'm naturally going to go to the bathroom because I'm a human being and that's what we do. Like, that's just what animals do. They get up and they relieve themselves. So like I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to, you know, I see my workout stuff that prompted me. There's my cue. Then I'm going to go do my workout. Now my workout finishing the workout can become a cue for the next thing I want to do, right? And so like that is how you can start to build habit blocks, is you can start to create the cue. Like the cue for the next thing is the previous thing. So the way that my current morning routine goes, so I told you like the shoe thing, that was back in the day. Nowadays, the first thing I do actually as I wake up and I go out, you know, I meditate, and then the meditation becomes the cue to plan my day, becomes the cue to go work out. Like, it's just like, and once you start to have that, once you start to daisy chain these things, it becomes very strange, because all of a sudden, like even when you maybe don't have to or whatever, like you feel this like habit draw to do the next thing in your series because you've built a block, you've built up this routine where one positive cue leads to the next positive cue and leads to the next thing. So the cue can be very, very powerful. I guess that's why I just spent a while talking about it. Number two is the reward. So number two, the reward. It's so what craving is this satisfying? So the thing about us is, as advanced as we are, okay, I'm talking to you on a computer. I've got next to me an iPad and an iPhone. I'm talking to you on this beautiful Blue Yeti microphone. You know, we're sophisticated creatures. We're still monkeys though. Like our brains are monkey animal brains, ape brains. I mean, I'm jokingly saying monkey brain because there's some history there, but you know, basically as human as you are, you're still an ape. And just like an ape, you're gonna want a reward. Like they've done all kinds of studies where, you know, they put a grape, you know, and they want the ape to like pick the blue versus the red or whatever the case may be. And like, if you hit the red, you get the grape, you know. You can hack that for yourself too. We are the same, okay? Only maybe it's not a grape, right? Maybe it's something more sophisticated. So when it comes to bad habits, a lot of times you got to kind of like figure out, okay, what craving do I think that I'm satisfying here? So like in my case, with this hair picking thing that I do, a lot of times it's boredom, anxiety. This one comes up a lot with people who eat. who snack excessively. So let's say that's another habit a new routine you want to establish is you want to stop snacking so much at work. I get it. Okay. I work in an office environment. There's snacks everywhere. There's chocolate everywhere. There's donuts all the time. And so it's like, how do I not go to that stuff? First, you got to be a little bit mindful of like, okay, what's prompting me to get up from my desk and go get that cake or that thing? That's another, I keep thinking of things I'll talk about in the future because I read a great book about sort of the habits, the mind habits around impulsive eating. So that's another good one. All these mastermind groups coming in the spring. So yeah, keep an eye out. Bright Star Coach Online for these masterminds. They're going to be great. But yeah, so like, what is it? A lot of times at work, it's the boredom. You're bored. You're not really into whatever it is you're working on because it's been assigned to you by somebody else. It's not what you wanted to do. There's also like blood sugar issues, right? Like during certain times of the day, there's like a dip and it's like, okay, you're seeking a reward, right? And so that reward that you're seeking is easy and instantly rewarding, which is maybe picking your hair, chewing your nails, or eating a cupcake, whatever the case may be, right? So how do you hack that? How can you work with that? So what's hard about this one is sometimes what you need to do is tie the better habit that you're trying to replace with a later reward, if you will. Like, you're not going to get that instant dopamine hit. So you got to figure out a way, how can I get that instant dopamine hit to kind of get me over, because I'm going after something bigger. So back to our workout example, say you want to work out every day or run 3 times a week or something like that. There are people who do streak running. I could talk about why I don't love streak running. I don't think it's good for your knees. I don't think that's a good idea, but whatever. Some people do. So let's say you wanted to run every day. The way that I handle this, and I will actually show you my notebook here, if I can bring it up. The way that I handle this is I get the dopamine hit from ticking off something every day. So here's my actual thing for, oh gosh, I don't know if you could see that. Excuse me. But that's my actual thing for January. So my personal goal for January is to clean up my diet, because look, I enjoy my life. And in October through December, I basically say I'm going to eat whatever I want because I want to enjoy my life. So I eat Halloween candy. I have a great time in Thanksgiving. This is just something I do every year. Christmas, I enjoy myself. I enjoy the holidays. But when it comes to January, it's like, all right, it's time to, okay, holidays are over. You need to clean this up. And so I have you can't quite see the way that's written, but it basically says at the top, this month I commit to clean up my diet. And then I've got these check marks every day that I log my food, because what I have found is logging my food is the best way for me to eat better. So every day that I've done it, I've checked it off. You will see there's one day that I didn't do it. I'm actually thinking about just kind of giving myself credit for that day, because it was just a weird day. Anyways, but it doesn't matter. Like, my goal is to have the majority of the days checked. And then at the bottom, I have a reward. And you can't quite read that, but so what it says is digital sticker pack, because what I use is a digital notebook, and they sell, it's like for 15 or 20 bucks, they sell a digital sticker pack. And that's the kind of thing that like I would normally say, I don't need it. And honestly, I don't really need it. I have figured out ways to like make my own little stickers, but that's the whole point of a reward. The whole point of a reward is like, treat yourself. Do something you don't need to do that you would normally say, I'm not going to buy that. Find a reward that is motivating and makes you want to do the thing, And so I get the instant dopamine hit by getting that check mark. That's what motivates me in the moment. But the check mark builds up to this bigger reward. So that's how you use the reward piece towards habit change, if you will. A lot of times you do need to kind of do the tracker streak method. I know not everybody's motivated by streaks. And so, and honestly, streaks really aren't motivating. Streaks in and of themselves are not motivating. But the way that I do it is I use the tick mark as a sort of, what would you call it? Like an instant dopamine hit, knowing that a bigger hit is coming. So lastly, the routine. So, the routine is the doing part. Okay. The routine is the actual, like, doing the thing. And so I've been kind of talking about the routine this entire time, which is you change the behavior. So again, back to my example of cleaning up my diet in January, look, I'm still work at the same place. There's still food. There's not as much, I will admit, like in the holiday time, it goes ham. Okay. There's ham. The ham goes ham. Like there's just like stuff everywhere, but it's still the case. Like, I mean, just the other, like my boss, for example, has just like a bowl of these really amazing, like Lindor truffle things. Like it's still there. So so the routine that I've replaced is, like I said, I write down my food and I avoid snacks at work. And if I do that, I get the little check mark. So the routine is just the new behavior, right? It's the running in the morning. It's the eating better. It's the not. So in the case of like automatic body type behaviors, I do want to just real quick touch on that because I do have some history there. So in the case of the hair picking or the nail biting or whatever it is you do, you need to pick another routine. Maybe it's clicking a pen. When you want to do it, you just grab a pen. What I do is, and this one actually helps me stop from snacking too, is I actually have some of that sensory putty. There's that Crazy Erin sensory putty that's for like kids. I just got myself a little can of it and I sit at my desk. I'll just sit at my desk at work and play with that sensory putty. And that keeps my fingers busy. And it gives me that sort of weird tactile satisfaction that I'm like after, without picking at the back of my head because I don't need to be picking at it. And I've done fidgets. Nowadays there are so many great things out there for people. I don't know why. I think, ADHD has become more common. And so people are selling like a lot of sensory fidgety things. So there's a lot out there. So that's another topic. If anybody really wants to talk about, please let me know, comment below this video. Let me know if you want me to talk more about that. Yeah, because I mean, I've already written down like 2 masterminds that we're gonna do, so maybe we'll do one on that too. Anyways, okay, so I'm about at 20 minutes. I like to keep these things short, guys. Love to hear from you. Love to talk to you guys in the mornings. Let me know how things go. Let me know how your routines and your habits are going. Next week, we're gonna talk about what do you do when the going gets tough. And I'm gonna tell you, spoiler alert, post number 1, the going will get tough. Okay. Because believe it or not, a lot of people don't seem to get that. Like they're surprised when setbacks happen. And to me, it's like, it's just part of the game. Like, if it were easy, everyone would do it. That's like the classic thing that we're always saying at work too. Like if it were easy, everybody would do this. It's not easy. And so, setbacks and difficulties are gonna happen. So how do you, what do you do when those happen? That's what's on next week. And I'll see you then. Bye.